Hi, my name is Mitchell Carter, and the theme of my annotated bibliography is going to be companionship, which I think is a very common theme in children's literature for good reason, and that is that companionship and friendship is something that will be of great use to kids from their early childhood and under their adulthood. And so that's why I chose 5 books that have the common theme of uh, companionship. And although they have that common theme, the theme is incorporated in 5 different ways, which I think each way is a good example to kids and holds their own individual strengths in incorporating that. And so the first book that I chose is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is about a young hobbit named Bilbo Baggins and how he embarks on a quest with a company of dwarves, also fairly small, and Gandalf the Wizard. And how, although each one of them were very small, especially Bilbo, by teaming up and utilizing each other's individual strengths and weaknesses and skill sets, they were able to achieve a great thing. And another aspect of the book that I thought kids could get a lot out of is acceptance, because initially Bilbo was not accepted by the company of dwarves. They saw him as an outsider, a weakling, and eventually he learned their ways and earned their honor through his actions and their respect, and it really was an important part of the story. And I think that oftentimes kids don't feel accepted and by their peers, and they can relate to that. And so the second book that I chose was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which is the second in the series, which is of course written by J.K. Rowling, and it's about Harry and his friends Ron and Hermione, and how they once again thwart the evil doings of Voldemort, who in this book is referred to as Tom Riddle. It's his alias, and their companionship is much like Bilbo's with the dwarves, how they each have their independent skill sets and strengths, but they all rely on each other equally, and they all, without one another, they would not have accomplished what they did and defeated Voldemort. And how this one is different is that how Bilbo was small and there were low expectations for him. Harry Potter is pretty much a legend in the Harry Potter world. He's considered to be famous and a great wizard. So it was good to see how even someone of his social stature required the help of his companions, and without them, even he would not have accomplished what was accomplished in the book. So that's why I chose that book. And my third book was A Series of Unfortunate Events, The Reptile Room, which is also the second book of the series. And it was written by Lemony Snicket and is about the Baudelaire orphans, Sunny, Violet, and Klaus, and how they they go to live with their uncle, who has a very interesting house, and how they, with their individual strengths and skills, are able to escape Count Olaf, and even with the loss of their uncle, carry on and keep going. And one of the themes that I thought the incorporation of companionship in this book was through sibling companionship, and how that can be found within your family companionship, and how it can be even stronger sometimes than the companionship of friends, because it has that family bond. And once again, there's an aspect that children can relate to in this book, and that is that the Baudelaire orphans are often misunderstood and underestimated by Count Olaf and other adult authority figures. And kids can relate to that because often they're misunderstood and they're underestimated by authority figures and adults. So that's why I chose that book. And yes, my fourth book is Frog and Toad Are Friends, which is about a frog and a toad who are friends, and they encounter many obstacles, some of which are larger creatures that would like to prey on a frog and a toad. And with their friendship, they are able to overcome these larger creatures and these obstacles with their wit. And I think that's important for kids to know because frogs and toads, especially in the book, appear very vulnerable creatures, very fragile, and you don't have to be big and bulky to overcome things with friendship, because you guys can work together and overcome great things, even being vulnerable, which children often feel they are. And yes, my fifth and final book was The Island of Blue Dolphins, which is written by Frog and Toad was written by Arnold Lobel, by the way. Island of Blue Dolphins is written by Scott Odell and is about a young girl who lives in a tribe on an island with her brother and her dad, who is the chief of the tribe, and how one day her tribe is devastated by the visitation of Russian fur hunters, and how they are betrayed by these Russian fur hunters who appear to be nice and kind, and how she remains loyal to her brother even when he's left behind. She, in an attempt to get him to come along with the rest of the tribe, who eventually flees from the island, ends up getting trapped on the island with him, and how they get along by themselves, their companionship, and how even with the loss of her brother when he dies from being attacked by a pack of wolves, she eventually seeks revenge in honor of him and tries to kill the rest of the dogs, actually, the pack of dogs, and eventually becomes friends with the leader of the dogs and sees past his faults and sees past the grudge that she held against him, and he becomes her new companion. And her next companion in the book ends up being a girl that is part of the crew ship that comes with the Russians once again, to harvest the furs and pelts from the island. And it just goes to show that companionship can come in the most unlikely forms, and that by looking past those grudges and those hard feelings that she must have felt for the Russian group and the dogs, she was able to acquire great friendships and great companions that helped her along the way as well. And that's an important lesson for kids to learn. And yeah, in conclusion, there are different kinds of companionships. There are different kinds of friendships. They can be found anywhere, and they're important. And but another important aspect is that even with the stress of companionship, should be stressed, it is important for the kids to understand that they aren't to underestimate their own individual strengths too. That they shouldn't become too dependent upon these companionships and these relationships, that they have great potential themselves. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.